We love these one-take wonders, but these get more detailed as we go along. It's been about a week now. A lot more has been changed. I added completely the whole networking system, so now you can play this with somebody randomly across the world or with somebody that's in your own house. There's a whole menu now that instead of just click and play, you go straight into the game. Now you can actually type your name and connect, or you can choose a server if you decide to. Here's all the open rooms. You can create a room, player account. You can choose how many teams that you want to be playing with, so you can also go back and see if other people are playing. I'm going to load up another version of this. And so the built version here is going to be what's actually having the music. I will open this back and forth from the Unity scene. I'll have this one muted, so if you hear any music or sounds, it's coming from the one in the background. So we're going to connect to both. Now we're both on the connection and create a room. And we come on back, go to the editor, we can do a little refresh, and bam, there it is. So now you can just join people specifically instead of hoping that you happen to stumble upon your friend. Here you can just also select each team. So if you want to just play with 2 teams, and if you have 8 players, you'd be 4 on 4. Or if you have 4 teams with 8 players, it'd be 2 on 2 on 2 on 2. So you can just decide to choose which one you want. I'm also going to turn the music down just a little bit, just so you can hear me a little bit better. So if we just start a team of 4, even though we only have 2 teams, you can see that the map is a lot more different looking. This is not the final at all. I just wanted to add some more color. You have the 4 teams now with kingdoms, and it has like a little counter above that you can see that whenever the control point produces any sort of wood, stone, or any of the different materials, it will actually show you now, so you can comprehend what you're actually earning instead of just seeing numbers in the top left crawl up. You can see that the kingdom here is generating units, and there's a number up here, 3 out of 3. That is the max amount of units that this one building can produce. So we're going to send people off to get all our woods so we can build up for a scout barrack. And we can even just send them in, get some stone producing so I can show you later in. And just to show you, blue over here, we'll full screen this. Blue over here is perfectly seeing everything that is happening over what red is doing, and I can control units as the blue character as well. So there goes, it's 3 units that were maxed, and completely different numbers, so 26 wood currently for blue and 110 for red. So all the networking is currently synced up correctly. And I also added, it's going to be a little harder to show you, I might skip to this at a certain point, but I also added the ghost mode feature. I will show that in a little bit. It's where if, for instance, blue team's kingdom is killed, blue technically is eliminated from the game, although they are not out completely. They turn into a ghost and have some special abilities that they can influence the rest of the game if yellow and green were in the game. I've also modified the camera a little bit, made it so it goes higher and just feels a lot more smoother. Added a lot of detail to all the control points in the map, so it's just you can differentiate stuff a little bit better. Like for instance, the wood over here is like dirt, red dirt, and this is rock, and this metal looks kind of like volcanic-y rock, and then in the middle it's stone crystally. It's roof shingles. It's roof shingles. It's not ruby. Anyways, so yeah, now you can place down your barracks only within your control point. I can't remember if that was within the last video, but now that is a limitation. So in order to build anything, you have to build within your control point. Eventually, I'll make it so that you cannot build stuff inside of each other, but currently you can. You can stack them. And each barracks has its own count. So scout barracks, even though it's the same unit as the kingdom, has 5. So 5 out of 5 would be its max, and then you can also spawn these other ones and the sniper as well. I don't have enough wood though for this. We can send a unit to get out some wood. Also included some new walls, each as 25 cost, and because each one of the control points produces less and less, ruby is a lot harder to get than a wood wall, for instance. And you can see here that they gain size visually. Everything about this game will be changed visually, but as a basic prototype, you can from a quick glance see, and you can even see the peasants from the peasants barracks have a basic model that we tried messing around with. Ruby wall is going to be 1, 2 more. 1, 2. Awesome. Yeah, ruby wall is humongous. It's clearly that if you have a wood wall next to ruby wall, which one has a lot more health to it. I've also added these little yellow bars underneath showing any action times of any items. So for instance, turrets as well. Turrets have these little action bars, and you can see when an action is going to be completed. So if blue is coming over here, you can see when the turret's about to attack, and same with the barracks, you can see when they're about to spawn something, so you have a better visualization of what's going on in the background. We can send this guy over here. We can also check back in blue, see if they got 256 wood. So we could technically just come over here and spawn 2 barracks for scouts. Although the issue is now if I just kind of like leave blue alone, they can only max generate a 5 each. So the idea is you want to keep building your army and you don't want to just come to a halt. So you want to use the army that you have built. Because your barracks don't just continuously just build. I've also kind of created a faint line around the turrets so they're not as popping. I don't remember if it was in the last video or not, but there used to be a way thicker particle line showing the range of the turrets, but now they're just like a little softer, so when you have a ton of turrets down, it's not burning the ground with tons of white particles. Alright, now let's send what we have so far unit-wise. I want to see if I can try to kill blue to show the haunting mode. Alright, we're going to spam these down. And just to protect ourselves, we're going to put down some metal turrets, clearly because blue's going to try to retaliate. And eventually I'll make it so buildings do not spawn within each other, like I mentioned before, which actually limits the amount of barracks that you can put in a single spot. So I might do some tweaking with the size of the spots to do some balancing, so you can only put a certain amount of barracks on a spot or a control point. We're going to let these build up just a little bit. We're going to kill some time by just talking about random things, like look at the grass, look at the dirt. Do you guys see the stone? There's stone on the ground. That like depicts that there's stone in the area. It's good visual cues. Even though this map is actually drawn for the 2-player map, which I can actually show after this. Alright, we're going to do a quick little push, see if it's going to do anything. And you'll notice here soon as well that once we touch the point, there's no units on the point, so we technically capture it. I do want to make it so capturing takes a little bit, and possibly that also buildings on it will not allow it to be taken over. But currently we can also just spam turrets and the turrets will just help out. But we can come over to blue and notice how blue is now turned white. All of blue's units, which used to be here, are now gone. So all units, all buildings, everything is destroyed. You can see you're now dead. And there's a haunt nearby button now. And you could go up to any player's units. Does not matter whose it is. You could be really good friends with red and you're like, all right, I'm going to help him out. And clearly there's no way to walk across here because there's no arrows to move your units. But me, a very fun guy who likes to help people who are actually alive, I can just tell these guys to walk. And there's a cooldown and a remaining, so the cooldown takes a little bit longer after you're done forcing them over here. But you can't control them like a normal thing. The only thing you can do is haunt, and they'll chase you down. And once my haunt's over, I'm still in the cooldown, but now the units are in a new spot. So technically this wasn't possible before. So this would be used, for instance, if green was holding this wood control point on the bottom left, and yellow was holding this control point on the bottom right. And one thing red could do is get out, is go straight across. So if I was dead, I could help them out. And you can do it again after the cooldown's done, and you can just bring them wherever. Or even, for instance, if there was a base here and there's units protecting it and yellow is coming in, and I said I want to help yellow out, I'm going to just yank the units away and just make sure that they don't go into combat. And then you'll notice as soon as I'm done haunting, they'll return to their original control point unless they found another control point. Alright, so now we're going to leave this game. It broke. Don't worry about that. You didn't see that. Although this worked using the other player. We're going to create another room, and we're going to do team count of 1 or 2, and we'll just start without blue because there's no need. I just wanted to show off the map. So this map's background or ground is actually depicting of what it currently correctly is. So red versus blue here. There's no green or yellow. This is more of a 1v1 map. I'm going to make tons of different maps, each with varying size of the control points, the amount of control points. So for instance, here there are 4 stone points and 2 metal and 1 ruby, whereas the last map that we were just on with the 4 teams has 4 metal spots and 4 stone. So metal is a lot more scarce, and it's directly in between. So it's a little bit more of a fight, and as well into the ruby side. Um, Concepts for maps are very easy. All I had to do is just randomly place dots down and tell which dots can connect to which dots. So I can even make these procedural in the future. It'd be very easy. Anyways, that is enough for this one. It's awesome to see that all this networking that I've been doing has gone pretty smoothly so far. Everything is correctly synced up, even if we had Blue connected as a sub client and I left as a master client, the owner of the server, everything is moved over correctly, and there's doesn't seem to be any bugs at the point until I probably get deeper into more of the code. But for now, the game seems pretty stable. It's a great concept. I'm going to continue working on it because it seems like people are having fun. The game's very easy to learn and hard to master, and I think that's going to be very beneficial to the gaming community where all of your friends want to play together, but they don't want to sit there for 30 minutes watching the rest of the battle go on because they died early off in the game. They still have some say in the game and can have some fun. Alrighty, if you guys have anything that you guys want to mention, you can just go down in the comments, but I don't even know if you got this far in the video. If you did get this far in the video, please do leave a like, because you clearly decided to listen to me ramble. Alright, thank you guys. See ya.